The glycolysis is nothing but is the process under the glycolysis. Glyco means glucose and lysis means breakdown. So under this glycolysis, what happened? Glucose is break down into the pyruvate. What happened? When the glucose will form after the photosynthesis process, we already discussed, photosynthesis process glucose is formed, then glucose is formed only those areas where the chlorophyll is present. Chlorophyll is present. What happened? The chlorophyll is nothing but is the green pigment which are present in the chloroplast, and this pathway will occurs only in the cytoplasm. What happened? This pathway is in the cytoplasm, and we don't cytoplasm, that is the glucose breakdown into pyruvate. First the glucose is converted into the fructose, and fructose is converted into the isomerase that is called the fructose 6-phosphate, and fructose 6-phosphate converted into the glyceraldehyde substance, and after that is lead to the breakdown into the pyruvate acid. What happened after the pyruvate? Then pyruvate will go under electron transport chain, because so many things are happening in this. We have increased or decreased or releasing the hydrogen ions in the form of NADH. NADH plus is increasing the hydrogen ions, then this electron transport chain is transferred to the other part of the body, that is the part, and the process called the electron transport system. In electron transport system, what happened? The ions will transfer from one part to the another part and release to all part of the body to give the strength. Then after that we will go for the aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is nothing but the process of breakdown of the complex molecules into the simpler in the presence of oxygen. In the presence of oxygen means the breakdown of the simpler, it convert, the pyruvate will convert into the mitochondria. Pyruvate convert into the mitochondria, and the mitochondria will have in the cytoplasm. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cells. Mitochondria is also known as the powerhouse of the cell. So this mitochondria is pyruvate converted to mitochondria, and pyruvate will start another pathway called TCA cycle. In TCA cycle, what happened? The Krebs cycle, also known as Krebs cycle. In Krebs cycle, what happened in this? The pyruvate it convert into the citric acid. Citric acid. So after the conversion of the citric acid, then so many ATP molecules and NADH and the hydrogen ions is released. What happened after this process under the respiration in plants? Later we have to calculate how many carbon dioxide and the oxygen will release. That is the topic under the condition called respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient. In this, the respiratory quotient, the volume of RQ is equal to volume of carbon dioxide divided by volume of oxygen. How much carbon dioxide release and how much the volume of oxygen release, we can calculate the respiratory quotient. Example, if I am going to take the word example, photosynthesis, water, 6 CO2 give 2 CO2 and 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 C6 H6 O6, okay, plus O2. Okay, so how much evolve? 6 carbon dioxide. So here 6 CO2 and here how much oxygen? 6. So cancel, mean we can say the one molecules of the RQ will be here at the time of the respiratory quotient for less than 1. Less than 1. So the respiratory quotient in the 1 molecules of the glucose means it forms 6 carbon dioxide and the 6 oxygen we need for the respiratory quotient. So here the respiration is occurs only in the plant as well as in the human being, but in the respiration in plant we will go for the 2 method, that is aerobic and anaerobic. Okay, but here the important thing is how many ATP and how many NADPH is evolved during the glycolysis. So very important question everyone they are, means they are utilized 2 molecules of ATP during the conversion of glucose and fructose to the glyceraldehyde. 2 molecules of ATP and the formation of 2 molecules of ATP also here, means utilize 2 ATP and release 2 ATP energy during the glycolysis. So what is the main aspect for the respiration? Respiration, the main aspect is for the breakdown of glucose, or we can say the complex molecule convert into the simpler molecules and releasing the energy in the form of ATP, whether in the presence of aerobic or anaerobic, that is known as the respiration. Or in that the larger molecule breakdown, because in the daily use we are having lot of things. So in plants also the formation of glucose, but the glucose is C6H12 as such not go and supply to all part of the plant. So what we have to do, we have to do the breakdown, and breakdown is happen only in the respiration process, and it supply all over the part of the body with the help of the phloem particle, and the phloem and xylem is one of the process under the plant is help to supply the water as well as food. Food is responsible for the phloem and the xylem is responsible for water. So what happened? Water, xylem is supplied and taking from the roots to the absorb the roots to the xylem from stem to leaf. In the leaves we have a chloroplast, and chloroplast having a green pigment called chlorophyll, and during the chlorophyll, in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, glucose means this process will occur, and this process known as the photosynthesis process. After the photosynthesis process, the respiration occurs, and the respiration is occurs the breakdown of the glycolysis, and these are the process breakdown of the smaller larger particles like glucose into the pyruvate to the citric acid, and the ions also supplied during the electron chain system, ETS, electron transport system. Apart of that, the photosynthesis is play an important role. If photosynthesis not occurs, if your plant is not healthy, if plant is not green, so it's impossible these process will occur. If food is not formation, glucose is not formation, how could it possible to break down the glucose into the pyruvate? So important thing first is the photosynthesis process and the green plant. If it is green plant is there, what happened? The automatically glucose form means glycolysis means TCA cycle, ETCA, and the so many pathways will help, and the main aspect is that to energy release. If energy release, then it transfer from the cell to cell and cell division occurs. That is the another topic. Thank you so much.